New EPA regulations began last month for the HVAC industry. These rules aim to reduce environmental impacts of refrigerants, but could significantly affect how consumers buy or repair their home units. Clayton Baumgarth reports on how local instructors and businesses are handling the changes.
Since its founding in 1963, Ivy Tech has helped students prep for a career quickly. It's here that they come to learn about the HVAC industry.
This is room B113 on Ivy Tech. We've got a lot of residential equipment in here.
Through this program, students see the inner workings of air conditioners, furnaces, and more. Lately, that training has begun talking about a new refrigerant with a lower global warming potential.
It seems like every 10 years there's a change to regulations in our refrigerants. All of them are designed to be a temporary solution.
This new class of refrigerants, called A2Ls, are more environmentally friendly than the previous R410A refrigerants. However, they are more flammable, which requires more training.
It's a mildly flammable. So when the students get that exposure to it, it's something that they need to understand is not commonplace at all.
This phase out of old refrigerants comes with growing pains. For one, industry leaders expect the price of the older chemicals to increase 20 to 30%.
Although nothing prevents you from servicing your equipment, if less of the refrigerant is being produced and supplied into the industry, that phase down schedule of the refrigerant likely will have some cost impact on maintaining and servicing existing equipment.
After last month's change, any new HVAC system is required to be compatible with A2L refrigerant. Anything before that cutoff is considered legacy equipment, and as the phase out of producing R410A goes on, the supply of that coolant will decrease. And if you're worried about that cost, future-proofing to the new standard will also be a chunk of change, with some estimating a new unit to cost between $6,000 and $8,000.
There isn't really a retrofittable solution to just say, hey, we're going to switch out the refrigerant to the new refrigerant on the existing equipment. Isn't really a viable solution at this point.
Lilia says that's because the new flammable refrigerant requires safety equipment that can't be installed in old systems. Those in the HVAC industry have been divided. On one hand, lowering environmental risk is viewed as a good thing. On the other, the short timeline and cost to implement this change has been challenging for some.
The hardest part, I think, is for everybody to educate themselves on the new requirements and what is changed and what is allowed and what's not allowed.
Surprisingly, that new expected price increase hasn't happened yet. In fact, the cost of R410A has decreased since the start of the year.
That refrigerant price has actually come down to what I would call historical levels. We'll see it go back up. I'm confident of that. But that hasn't happened yet.
Laughlin said that since 410 has been used since the late 90s in systems worldwide, the supply is massive for now. But as the phase out of production continues, he believes that its price could increase up to 300%. He added that with this new rule, a service call can involve working with one of 4 refrigerants.
We've got different tools that interact with those different refrigerants. So, and that all, while it's a pain, it boils down to it's just more involved. And when things are more involved and more complicated, they naturally get more expensive.
It all adds up to consumers having to choose between keeping older equipment with a higher maintenance cost or swapping to the new hardware at a steep buy-in. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.